$1,500.
1,500? You must be dreaming. I turned down 5,000 for it already.
No. I mean, I don't, I think we should talk about this.
Yeah. I'm asking 6,000 for the machine.
How the hell would you do something like that?
Why not?
That would suck.
I got a lot of money into it. You're probably not interested in it at that price, are you?
I'm just not. It's just what I'm trying to say is, look, don't sell the bike. You think that's a good idea?
Oh, I got two or three guys trying to scrape their money together right now. So the first guy comes up with the cash, gets the bike. You know what I mean?
Well, ain't that a kick in the head?
Pardon me?
I'll just get a swing loan from the bank. No problem.
You know something? I don't know who the hell you are, you black son of a bitch, but I ain't called your fucking house, you fucking nigger.
You know what, nigger? All you gotta do is give me your address. That's all you are, nigger. You're a nigger lover. You got niggers up in there. That's probably what you can get. You can't even get any white pussy, can you? You
know,
can't
I'm not tired of your goddamn call.
What can you hide behind that unemployment? Why don't you just go ahead and give me your address, cocksucker? I got so much juice, I bet I can have your ass arrested for on 16 fictitious charges in less than 5 minutes, you fucking faggot. But you know what? You're such a coward, motherfucker. You can't even call without blocking your number, pussy. You're just a fucking pussy. That's why you hang out with niggers, don't you? No, I'll cut you goddamn throat. That's what I'll do. And you know what? I got 2 or 3 cops that help me do it. You know how things work here, don't you? And you know what? They'll still lock your sorry motherfucking ass up. So give me your address, motherfucker.
Find out where you're at. You're fucking dead.
You know what? I'll tell you right now where I'm at, motherfucker, just so I have the luxury of you coming. So you got your pen and paper. I know you probably can't write.
Yeah.
But you know what? Get that nigger to write for me, and I'll give you the address, motherfucker.
You know something?
No, I know, motherfucker. I told you to write the goddamn address down. That's what I know, motherfucker. But I know you're a pussy and you won't do it. But you know what? Go ahead and write it down. Come on, motherfucker.
2.2 seconds, bitch.
2.2 seconds, you fucking cocksucker.
You fucking
As soon as you get here, we'll introduce you to how things really work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
I hear you, you fucking nigger lover.
You fucking nigger.
Nigger lover.
You piece of shit.
Yeah. You must be really bored. But you know what?
You some bitch, but I ain't called your fucking house.
Here's the address, motherfucker. Here's the address, pussy. And you know what? You keep talking to me a little longer. You know, the power of the internet's a wonderful fucking thing. I'll trace this fucking number. And you know what?
I got a trace on my phone. It's tracing your fucking name, bitch.
You know what? I'll give you my name, pussy.
Keep on talking, because they're tracing the call.
Pussy. And it doesn't take but 60 seconds, and you know what? You're so fucking goddamn pissed poor. You don't have enough money to buy a fucking...
I need a pickup.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes. I need a sandwich.
Potato salad, fruit salad. Well, that's the only double. That's like a chip.
Can you do that?
Huh?
Can you do that?
Do what?
Right.
Seriously, can I have your name?
Yeah. John Scott.
John what?
Scott.
Anything else for you?
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
Scott. Yes. The soup.
Is that it, sir?
What kind of soup?
What kind of soup do I have?
Yeah.
I have the potato soup.
Right. Right? Right. Right.
Hello?
Sir?
Yes?
Yes or no? Go ahead.
Okay, hold on.
Go ahead. Yeah.
All right, so you want a chicken?
I'm talking to my prognosis.
Yes,
I don't like a goddamn vegetable. Stewed tomatoes with peppers and onions. Please.
Thanks for holding. How can I help you?
Yeah. I need a pickup. Yeah.
I got something like a chicken sandwich on rye.
Yes.
Is that chicken salad or?
Right.
I'm talking to my cage. So,
Right.
yeah,
What the?
right?
Anything else for you?
You're always in such a hurry. Cheese
Ham and cheese?
sandwich. Yeah.
What kind of cheese?
American.
What kind of bread?
You just had to ask.
Right.
What side?
Yeah.
What side would you like?
Yeah.
What kind of cheese?
American.
What kind of bread?
You just had to ask.
Right.
What side would you?
Wait, Aaron, it kicks you off if you try to join. Like stream. This is. I'm doing StreamYard.
I don't know how to fart. Oh, that is not true. See?
Humane Society.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Can I help you?
I'd like to volunteer.
Okay.
I'd like to help in any way I can. You know what I mean?
Volunteers
Hello?
can really come in anytime they want to.
Oh,
So,
good. Great.
Yeah. We do our cleaning in the morning. If you want to come in the afternoon and walk dogs, you can do that. You know, so.
Great. Great. Love dogs. You know what I mean?
Yep. There's, we'll have you fill out a little, you know, some information, and that's it.
Shut the hell up.
Okay?
Hello?
Hello?
What's your address? Shut the hell up.
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello?
Maggie, get in the kitchen!
Hello?
Hello?
Sorry.
That's okay.
What's your address?
What's the matter with you? Get in the kitchen!
Hello?
Hello?
What's your address?
197.
Get in the kitchen!
Hello?
It's
Get in the kitchen!
Hello?
You seeing this, Aaron?
I'm sorry.
It's like, this
Go
dog
ahead.
is barking.
It's for
Get in the kitchen!
Hello? Go ahead.
The dog keeps damn barking.
Lady? I'm sorry. Let's broaden our minds.
Taco Extra, this is Beth.
Hi. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. I'm hungry. Hello?
Hello?
I need a pickup.
Okay, what do you need?
How's your taco?
What's that?
Hello?
Hello?
How's your taco?
He's like freaking bark, like damn dog.
Thank you for calling Papa John's.
Hi. How you doing?
Good.
I'm hungry. I need a pickup.
What's your phone number?
Are you ready? What? Why are you laughing?
Hold on just a second. Sorry.
She's been thinking about pizza. And what name would a pretty little
Thank
pizza?
you for holding this, Tasha. Would you like to try our pan pizza with up to 5 toppings for only $12.99 today?
You better believe it.
Okay, is this gonna be
That's right.
yeah, right.
Right.
Right. All right. Is this
How much
okay
for a
or is
pizza?
delivery?
Huh?
Are you gonna?
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? I'm sorry.
Then what?
Basket. All we need from you today, Chief. Put it in the basket, Chief.
Some
Please.
extra cheese.
What?
Some extra cheese.
What can I do for cheese? American, right?
How can I help you?
I screwed up my car.
You screwed up your car?
We're stuck in the ditch.
That's not good.
To put it mildly.
Do you want us to come get your car?
Yes.
And possibly you too? What's your name?
An ominous name. Bill Clinton of Arkansas.
Your name is what?
Billy Clinton.
No.
Yeah.
No way.
To put it mildly. Bill Clinton.
But you're not really the ex-president.
Yes.
No. Are you really?
Yes.
Are you really?
Bill Clinton.
Clinton.
Yes.
What's your phone
The
number?
right front tire blew out. It felt safe, so I got out and walked around a little.
Prank call.
Then I fell a few times. My cock is broken.
What's your phone number?
Things weren't going so well for my cock.
Who is this?
Just a second. My cock is wet. Bill Clinton.
This is not Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton of Arkansas. Yes.
No way.
Bill Clinton. Yeah.
What is your name really?
Bill Clinton. An ominous name.
Why do you say it like that?
My dick weighed a respectable 6 pounds, 8 ounces on a 21-inch frame. I lay like that.
I don't want to hear about that.
Bill Clinton? Yes. Yeah. My cock is quite sturdy.
Oh my god.
Seriously, who is this?
She went after my cock like a pack of rabid dogs.
No, seriously, who is
Oh
this?
my gosh. Dude.
Bill Simmons at the Associated Press.
No way. Come on, real name.
Bill Armstrong.
There's no, listen to you. You're making up all these names of famous people. Come on.
Roger Clinton.
Huh?
John Paul Hammersmith.
For real, who is
Comeback kid.
this?
My mother named me William Jefferson Blythe III.
No. I want the name on your birth certificate.
President Nixon.
No, whatever. He's dead, isn't he?
Linda
No, he's not
Bloodworth.
Oh, what?
What?
Hillary
Where?
Clinton.
You sing this there.
Colonel Holmes. Deanna Troy. It's exploded. I screwed up my car. We're stuck in the ditch. Help.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Hold on a second, okay?
George Wallace. My oh my. He said, aren't
Sir?
you Bill Clinton?
Sir?
Yes.
President Bush said we can't do the toe.
President Nixon should be impeached. President Bush had dispatched U.S. troops on a humanitarian mission to avert mass starvation.
No. Bush should not be impeached. Bush said we can't do your toe.
The Bush administration announced that the budget deficit would be even higher than previously estimated.
Good afternoon, Surgery.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
It's my birthday.
Hello?
I need to. You understand, don't you? Can you hear me?
Yes.
It's my birthday.
Oh my.
I need an amazing cake. Can you do that?
What kind of cake do you want?
So what do you got?
Cake layered with chocolate ganache and chocolate buttercream.
Oh, that sounds delicious. That one! Can you do that?
The chocolate fandango?
Yes.
24 hours for special orders. We have cakes available
Oh.
any week right now.
So that's how it is.
Sunday and Monday.
I know. Don't worry about it. Go ahead. Do well. I'm intrigued. What do you got?
We have a 6-inch chocolate mousse cake and a 6-inch flourless chocolate torte, and also a 6-inch coconut lemon cake.
Get out of here! You're shitting me. Really? What about the last one? That sounds delicious. Can you do that?
Would you like me to pull it for you?
Yes. Here,
The coconut, the coconut
What?
lemon cake?
Living with opioid.
Hello?
Richard.
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
Yes, okay.
Richard, why did you not bathe? What was the point?
Why did I what?
Richard, you gotta be respectful. Clean yourself.
What are you talking about?
Richard, you gotta have some respect for people.
I do.
Oh, I'm disappointed, Richard.
Who are you?
Fred Norris. Show a little decency.
What are you talking about?
We'd rather you be clean.
Buddy, you're off your rocker. I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm clean.
Is there a smell? I'm too far.
Hey, I'm hanging up. You're weird. Hello.
Well, wash that man's rear.
What's the matter? Are you a sicko?
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Why is that?
It's disgusting.
I'm disgusting?
Yes.
What makes you think you're not disgusting?
Richard, you gotta have some respect for people.
I do have respect for people, but I sure don't have much respect for you because I don't know what your game plan is.
We'd rather you be clean.
What are you talking about, be cleaned?
Clean yourself.
I had my shower this morning.
Good Lord. Well, wash that man's rear.
What are you talking about? Watch a man's rear?
Yes. I love those voluptuous mounds.
Man, you've got a problem.
A bright asshole. Now, where are you located?
It's none of your business.
What?
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 Huh?
What?
What do you mean, what?
What?
Listen, you dork. I don't know what your game plan is, pal, but you better quit calling.
It's not funny.
Okay.
I know it's not fun.
Number $60.
If you were like me and had unsupervised access to the internet throughout the 2000s, then it's very likely that while you were innocently scrolling through a website or watching a video, you were shown an image that made you quickly turn the family computer off. Today we'll be going over a collection of these disturbing internet images from over the years and finding the interesting origins of where they come from. I know this topic has been done quite a few times, so I included some more obscure images that personally traumatized me over the years and maybe even used to scare you as well. A bit more insight. Looking through and translating the comments on the video, I was seeing a ton of comments that were sharing a similar story that sort of served as a background to the image. This urban legend has a few different variations from what I was seeing, but the general idea is that it consists of a young girl who was being read the Quran by her mother. The young girl was then upset with her mother and damaged the Quran in some way, either by stomping on it or throwing it at the wall. It really depends what retelling of the story you're hearing. I've seen one where she flushes it down the toilet. After the young girl damages the Quran in her fit, she's then turned into this rat-like creature by Allah for retribution. After reading through all these comments, I decided to look more into this urban legend, and I found a ton more chain mail and other forum posts spreading this same urban legend about a rat girl cursed by Allah. I had no idea that this influencer, Patricia Piccinini...
Ooh, what the hell is... Okay, what the hell actually is that? Oh, no.
Pretty sure they're not the original creator of the image, and there's for sure an instance of it existing on the internet before this. I tried very, very hard using all of Google's search engine features to find anything else about this image's origins, but I just could not find much using the other comments, and the comments that were left much fan art that it was posted to was deleted. Sorry for this one, but I wanted to include a more recently popularized image, and it's definitely all dark bedroom settings, such as this one. I've also seen the face used in different Roblox horror games, and I pretty much just associate it with 2020's internet horror. So where does the creepy face in the image come from? A user on Reddit asked the same question back in 2021 on the r/Mandela catalog subreddit, and a lot of the replies were claiming that it's a still from one of the Grudge movies. I could see why people would think this, because if you compare the face in the image to the face of the Grudge girl, they have a lot of similarities, especially this still from the original Japanese version where her mouth is hanging open. While there are some similarities, it's still clear that the face from the Mandela catalog image is much different and almost seems more fake or uncanny than an actress playing a character. The fact January 7th, 2013, from a post on DeviantArt. The post was created by user Wolfie the Fox and is their original art of the Grudge ghost, so technically those people claiming that it was from the Grudge series weren't completely wrong. So this drawing was taken and then slightly edited to be pasted on top of this background to make up the image that we're all familiar with.
Oh, wait, what? Oh, yeah, I've seen the image before. That's from, like, I saw that in the Mr. Namer story. One of the Mr. Namer stories. Oh, so it's from the Grudge movie? It's like a drawing someone did. Okay. Dang, I didn't know that. Yeah, they altered it. It looks like it's... That's creepier than the Grudge one, though. That's creepier, man.
I said yes.
Hi.
Too often. Yes.
Hello?
Called about the vacancy.
For the cabins?
Yes.
Okay, you'll have to call and speak with the owner.
Fight like a man. That's a big old bitch.
120. Hello?
What about the vacancy?
You have to call and speak with the owner.
What was going on? Shut up. Quit giving me shit. You bitch on a much larger scale.
Thanks for calling for Ambassador Show. How may I assist you?
Yes. Called about the vacancy.
You called about the vacancy?
Yes.
Oh, for today?
Yes.
Oh, one moment.
Works for me.
What's criminal?
Unconstitutional.
Excuse
You don't get it. Coward. You're
Excuse
fucking
me?
drunk. Quit giving me shit.
Good morning, this is U-Haul. This is George. May I help you?
Hi, George. How are you today?
Doing good?
I'm calling for some information.
Yes, how can I help you?
I'm interested in renting an open trailer, U-Haul trailer, and I want to take it from Little Rock to Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And I don't need the rate of that. I just need to ask you some questions.
All right.
Can you put a hitch on a limo?
On a limo?
Can you put a hitch on a limousine?
No.
I'm interested
No,
in.
we don't do any of that type of thing.
What do I need? A truck? A truck of some kind?
Well, it's really according to the size of house. You know, it might be more economical to rent a van.
Well, I'm not. I'm trying to save the taxpayers' money, and I don't want to rent a van because I'm trying to save money for the taxpayers. So I'm interested in putting a hitch on that limo. But you say I can't?
No, you couldn't put it on a limo.
All right, that's fine. Let me ask you this: what if we were to load it up, say sometime in early November, load up our furniture on the trailer, and then that's going to be a problem. So I'm going to have to leave the trailer full of furniture outside the house, and I won't be able to move into January. Are you going to charge me a full rate for that U-Haul trailer?
But I tell you what. Hang on here just a minute.
Fine.
Let me see if we had to charge you the full rate for that.
Fine.
Hang on here just a minute.
All right.
Sir?
Yeah.
And now
see the
sir, may
On April 17th, 2000, after third court given, I'm about to
Protect your family's dreams under our roof. American Family Insurance.
Oh, what the heck is it? Fuck was that? Oh shoot, man. Oh boy, whoa. A bunch of some growing like what this is weird.
Hello? This is fucking shit. Fucking cut barrel.
Oh my gosh, this number. It's huge. It's a huge hole. Keep it together, God. Kyle, creatures home.
Where?
Please, no. Please, no.
Bring the handcuffs.
Oh.
You wouldn't settle for Bateman when there's Batman?
Solve the riddle and be free.
What is dusk?
You don't have to answer in the form of a question.
To whoever's watching this, I'm recording this. Please don't come here. Please don't come here.
Oh no.
Oh, shit.
Dude. This is really interesting. What's that? Watching. What is that? Wait, it's come back, came back. Where does it go? Wait, I thought I heard the monster. I don't even go to there. I gave anywhere to go.
Wolverine's been around for over a century because we give those who do one thing: confidence.
This is so weird. Interesting. I'm like fascinated by it. I don't know. But also, I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Liminal space is Quentin's childhood? Oh, wait, this is like some actual images, or this is like a. This kind of looks like AI, kind of, though. I'm not AI, but. What is that? Oh, this is not even a. This is not even a liminal video. This is like one of those. These are the pictures. How is this? No, that's not a full Toys R Us. That's like one of the Toys R Us in like one of those. It's like a little like section of Toys R Us. It's not even. It's not even a Toys R Us store though. Like I want the full fledged Toys R Us. This ain't that nostalgia for me, to be honest with you. Not exactly. These are really. Oh, what is that? Some of these are like weird though. I don't know.
What's this? What are you doing?
It's not really that liminal for me. Kind of. Trapped in.
We often associate liminal spaces with the places we can remember from our childhood. Space, and at the very top, you can see that this window.
So here we go. The mural again shows upstate New York. That's the guest house.
You could actually buy this bunker for a small loan of assuming that this one base right here.
Has underground.
It has windows already. Get out after you continue walking to the car. You all to realize at around check of the September 11th, 2001 terrorist attacks. I have a couple of videos already made on some stuff related to 9/11. This one in particular is pretty interesting, so go check it out after this if you want.
I mean, I'm being real. Maybe it's like fake image or something. I don't know.
You just saw Toy Story 3 at the movie theaters. Late at night at around 11:30, you, your parents, and your siblings begin walking to go home. You unknown building. Someone will say, not super interesting to be fair. It used to be this enormous cinema outside of the city with 8 huge screens for what was formerly known as on a website that would 2011. This picture would be uploaded to Foursquare.com, possibly in Michigan. Place in Beechwood, Ohio, and for the image on top. This mall Sun Films video, third largest every year, all in 2024. And it's on a perfect place to shop. Doors. Mesmerized was
Jared, I told me for quite a long time, and it's often as rooms. It almost has the sense of something that used to be an arcade, or is trying to be an arcade. After searching around to see when the image was first posted online, I came across a traveling blog from February of 2013. The blogging entry reads like this. Today we wandered around the city for a bit, along with visiting some famous places in Taipei. It was a fairly exhausting day filled with much walking and photo taking. My favorites are included down below. As we can see here, the first picture listed is of the iconic liminal space and backrooms photo. When clicking on the image, you can also read some text that says, "An abandoned arcade we stumbled across. It's pretty eerie." While the posters themselves didn't leave the actual location of the arcade, we do know that it was once somewhere in Taipei, which is in Taiwan. Unfortunately, I have a pretty good feeling that this liminal space no longer exists since it's been more than a decade, and it was already abandoned a decade ago. That means it's definitely demolished or changed completely now. This is a classic one, though. It gives you all those feelings of liminality. The guy located was once a part of an art exhibit called the Hidden Planet Mystery Tour. Come across in a lucid dream or a fever dream or something, but this picture in particular truly fits that saying. It sticks to that saying exactly.
A place that we often associate with crowds of people is suddenly vacant. See this. As a bonus, here is the view from the entrance from. This has been the case for about, I'd say, 50 users I'm about to mention. You can also contribute to this by joining the Discord in the description if you want. The user Valentine managed Hyatt Regency Hotel in Houston, Texas, and the Aqua Park Babylon in Liberec, Czechia. I'm pretty sure I butchered that one. I apologize. And finally, here's the little slideshow for a bunch of other notable finds. Thank you guys.
Oh my gosh. Whoa. No way. What?
This really big deal is Good Friday through Sunday. Visit JCPenney for buy two, get two free.
However you book your hotel, first check Kayak to see what lots of people say about where you're planning to stay.
Scientists are embarking on a drilling expedition to dig as deep as pasta. So today, there will be two parts to this video. The real story, and then the creepypasta version. First, let's dive into the real life story of digging to the depths of hell that actually happened.
What?
The Cola Super Deep joke somewhere in here, but the 4th of that year, 9 years after its starting date.
Shoot.
In 1979, that hole became the deepest borehole ever reached by mankind. And then 10 years later, in 1989, it was named the official deepest man-made hole in history. Not sure why it took 10 years before, due to lack of funding, which means for 24 years, it was all operational. As a result of these scientists digging a borehole, what was in the ground, The drilling revealed several interesting findings, mainly the lack of something called the basaltic layer that scientists had theorized were down near the 6-mile range. They thought that at 6 miles down, there should have been a thick layer of this basaltic stone, and there wasn't any at all. Instead, there were many more hard rocks and granites at much deeper depths than previous pools, 3 to 6 kilometers deep, and everything from the actual drill site that was shut with thick metal lids, so no one could. It's fascinated people, as continental borehole is a similar one as well. And recently, in 2023, for this, and they had this in a 9-inch hole below that 7.6 miles, actually deeper, could be far more dangerous and more macabre, lying dormant down there that we shouldn't awake. And most of all, how did a horrific story like the Well to Hell creepypasta come from a seemingly innocent drilling expedition by a bunch of cold Russians in the late 1900s? Let's examine the origins of that creepypasta and find out how it morphed into the very common tale that we know today. Sometime in late 1989, someone somewhere wrote a story similar to the creepypasta I read at the beginning of the video. A tale involving Russian scientists who stumbled into hell and recorded the dreams of humans. These scientists tried to keep this.
Hey Taylor. What's up, Taylor?
Hey.
How have you been?
Nothing good.
I was watching some of the horror type videos. I was watching some of the backrooms stuff earlier. I was just like
quiet for decades, but eventually it leaked to the public. It's safe to say this story went viral, especially in the late 80s, of course. It quickly spread its way across many Christian publications as well as broadcasting and other networks as well. All of these networks broadcasting the same story. The Russians dug into hell. What do we do now? With a network called Trinity Broadcasting Network running the story with the ominous title, quote, "Scientists Discover Hell," end quote. The story was so successful that the network ran another broadcast with some new information about this mysterious hellhole. This new information was apparently that some of the geologists that were on the dig reported seeing satanic figures crawl out of the hole. And a quote from this addition to the story reads as follows. What really unnerved the Soviets, apart from the voice recordings, was the appearance that same night of a fountainhead of luminous gas shooting up from the drill site. And out of the midst of this incandescent cloud pillar, a bright being with bat wings revealed itself with the words in Russian, "I have conquered," emblazoned against the dark side. It was Grell story, say that called evangelical.
It's crazy.
No so phenomenon story tabloid newspaper.
They dug like really deep.
Yeah.
This is like a different. This isn't in the U.S., so it's like a different. This is in a different country.
Yeah, it's in Russia.
Bears. Then the defense, which hadn't put up a sack in 12 quarters, finally did.
Perhaps the most popular TV hijacking is the Max Headroom incident. It's likely you've seen it before. A man dressed in a suit, sunglasses, and most notably a Max Headroom mask. Max Headroom was a fictional character advertised as the first computer-generated TV presenter. He first appeared in his own movie before the character got his own TV program. Popular back in the mid-'80s, it's likely most everyone instantly recognized the mask when on November 22nd, 1987, a sports segment on WGN TV was abruptly hijacked. this being what appeared on the screens of thousands.
McMahon and McKinnon, 14-0 Bears. Then the defense, which hadn't put up a sack in 12 quarters, finally did.
That's weird. TV hijack. How do they do this? How do they people just hijack the network or something?
The hijacking lasted a total of 17 seconds before engineers at WGN were able to regain control of the broadcast tower by switching to a backup frequency. At the time, not even they knew what had happened.
Oh, if you're wondering what's happened, so am I. Actually, the computer that we have running our news from time to time took off and went wild. So what we're going to do is start over from the top with the Bears and tell you once again about the 30-10 victory they had over Detroit today out at Soldier Field.
Swaying erratically, all while the background rotates from side to side. This is seemingly to recreate the look from the actual Max Headroom show, which features a similar background. During the hijacking, a distorted buzzing sound can be heard. Only the visuals were successfully hijacked. However, on that same day, a few hours later, a different station, WTTW, was also hijacked by the same group. And this time there was audio.
You should talk often with the old.
What?
Checks worse than me.
Weird. What the hell?
The motive behind the interruption is nonsense. Sees Channel 4 News. Reporter David Horowitz was interrupted by an unidentified man walking into the studio. The man appears in frame armed and hands David a set of papers. He instructs him to read them. And without another option, David calmly does what he's told.
Pardon me?
Does he have a gun or something like that?
Yeah, he probably does.
What is this? Oh. Let me see what it says. All right.
He's got a gun to his mouth.
All right, well, let me read this. Folks, we have someone on the set who's standing here and would like me to read this copy which was just handed to me. You want to tell me your name or not? What is it? And Gary, where are you from?
The video was then taken off the air and replaced with a still screen. But thousands of people had already witnessed it live, and police were immediately flooded with calls from viewers. Monitors in the studio clearly indicated they were no longer on the air, but the reporters desperately tried to convince the man he was still on.
Ribeye must have cost a fortune, huh?
Most disturbing images.
Sonic CD was the third installment of the Sonic the Hedgehog saga.
Yeah, I like this channel too. This channel's kind of good. Showing scares. These are not like stories. They're just like, creepy things and just different things.
It was released in 1993 for the Sega CD console and is often referred to as one of the best games in the Sonic franchise. The game's soundtrack, graphics, and cutscenes make it an instant classic among 90s video games. But there's another reason why the game got so much attention. Shortly after its release, strange rumors started circulating on messaging platforms such as Internet Relay Chat and Usenet. These platforms were obviously not as developed as the messaging apps and online forums that we use today, but because the internet was still very young, these platforms were ideal for gamers wanting to connect with an online community. According to the rumors, a series of hidden passwords could give the players access to secret images and messages within the game. Pretty soon, people started using these passwords and found something disturbing. When the game opened on the title screen, by pressing the button combinations down, 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 left, right, A on the controller, players would be taken to a sound test screen where they could experiment with different number combinations to hear music and sounds from the game's soundtrack. Most of the number combinations brought up normal sounds and music from the game, but one specific combination would take the player somewhere completely different. Many users reported that after typing in the numbers 46, 12, 25, or just 12, 25 in some versions of the game, the screen would change to a background consisting of rows and rows of Sonics with creepy human-like faces wagging their fingers.
What?
This is what it would look and sound like.
Oh, it's kind of creepy.
What the hell? That's weird.
Part of what makes this screen so unsettling is the creepy music from the American version of Sonic CD.
Why would they just
on
have that on
RPG
there? Like,
games.
the creators?
Many classic games in multiple genres have been made with RPG Maker, including Skyborn, Off, To the Moon, and Corpse Party. Utaho no Tatsuri, which roughly translates to The Curse of Utaho, follows the story of a young girl who loses her family under very strange circumstances and must unravel the mystery by exploring a haunted mansion and finding the clues that her little sister left behind. Although the game became pretty popular in Japan, it was never really marketed in the US. Because the game was never officially translated and a US version was never released, a lot of people haven't even heard of Utaho no Tatsuri. The game is filled with unsettling images of real-life corpses and disturbing faces, which pop up. Solway Firth Spaceman. On May 23, 1964, a British fireman named Jim Templeton took his wife Annie and his two kids, Elizabeth and Francis, to Berg Marsh, an area of grassland overlooking a famous estuary located off the
There's
southwest.
like different creepy images. You see me from... Yeah, interesting.
A liminal space image can be defined as a location which is a transition between two other locations or states of being. Examples of this can be empty hallways that are usually bustling with people, or places like desolate gas stations and hotels. These types of places I just listed off are usually overlooked by an everyday person, but they are quite literally a transition between two other locations. For example, gas stations are usually small trips you make when traveling in between two places, and hotels are a place to stay at while awaiting your next destination. Because of it's almost like that said, but what's very fascinating about liminal space.
Those images even look real, honestly. That image so it could be fake or something. Like just like a huge feel, like it just looks creepy. Yeah, that one looks real. It's like machines. That one looks real. That one almost doesn't look real either. That looks like it's not. That looks like it's probably not in the U.S. though. Like some of this stuff is definitely in the U.S. Oh yeah, these. Did you ever go to these? I remember going to some of these before.
Yeah. What is it? A bookstore? Oh, yeah. There used to be some of them back in elementary school.
Yeah, I would go to them like sometimes. It wasn't really that many books I was into. I was into like the Goosebumps books, like some other. I don't know. I wasn't into a lot of stuff though. You ever read those, the Goosebumps books?
No.
I always like those. I like the back or the background is obviously not real. That'd be scary if that was like all that stuff was real. You know, the backroom stuff. But yeah, everything in the back is just like real. That's it.
I've seen this.
You seen what?
Yeah, that animation of a grandma and a robot.
It's one of the most popular backrooms photos. There's many different stories and myths about the called Jared Pike. I don't know the exact location of this store, but what I know for sure, this is an abandoned Borders bookstore. Borders was a book, DVD, and coffee place, and the entire store chain would shut down in 2011 for a variety of reasons. Anyway, there's actually many different angles of this store, but the pictures have their own differences. In this shot, which is the most popular picture of Borders, you can see the classic "The End" on a back wall. In this picture, you can see "The End is near," which means this photo was probably taken before this one. There were many Borders bookstores that would shut.
Yeah, and someone made a backroom something called The End because of that image. Some like a background. Or it's like the last level or something, or
down, and because of this, there's a lot of abandoned
games
and in locations that look the same. So if you know which one this was, be sure to
I
comment.
guess it's like a closed bookstore though.
I'm not sure how popular this photo actually is, but I have a feeling that I've seen it in a liminal space compilation before.
That image is kind of weird. Yeah, I've seen places like that. I've seen places like that. We kind of have a place like that, kind of. It's kind of like
like in dreams. I thought I was alone in my recurring, unsettling, and repulsive bathroom dreams until I found out a while back that they're actually a super common phenomenon. When the stalls don't have doors or aren't tall enough, the toilet is too tall.
Who has nightmares of bathrooms? I've never really. I don't think I've ever really had that before. Bathroom nightmares. Or bathroom dreams. You ever had that? I don't think I ever had that. Bathroom dreams.
Liminal photo that this backrooms photo is real. This photo may look like your typical backrooms jungle gym, but it has some dark, musty lore. It was taken at Rainbow Funhouse in Torquay, England. The building was an old converted church that opened in 2001. What started as a bright, promising future for this establishment ended as an abandoned, decrepit place with a bad rep and fire damage. Its history of TripAdvisor reviews tells most of the story. In 2012, this person said they'd recommend the play center for anyone with younger children, added their entry prices were very reasonable, and described the food as basic but adequate. Then only a year later in 2013, Jared said they were charging parents entry fees even if they weren't participating in any of the activities, and that the staff was lacking with keeping the children supervised and safe, which is a recurring complaint amongst reviews. This woman said her son had a fall that caused a broken arm and that there wasn't any staff on the floor the children were playing on during the time of the incident. The downstairs area was for younger children while the upstairs was for older children, but it seems to not have been enforced, and this person claims their 2-year-old daughter was the cause of the fire. I believe there is a rumor that someone died either in the fire or like an accident while Rainbow Funhouse was still open, but I'm 99% sure that's
That's weird. It's like in a church. Oh, that's weird.
I'll be back soon.
Okay.
The pool rooms are a very popular subcategory in liminal space photography, and the backrooms lore, level 37, which is also called sublimity, is all about the pool rooms. Before I go any further, I'm sorry to break anyone's hopes of this dreamlike place existing, but the pool rooms don't exist in real life. The popular pool rooms images and 3D renderings were originally made by a New York artist called Jared Pike. I don't know how long he's been making this type of liminal space art, but it's become his overall brand in recent years. I looked back at his older posts on Instagram, and he has many hidden gems for liminal space art. There's plenty of ways to support Jared Pike, such as following him on Instagram where he embraces the newfound appreciation for his pool room artistry, or you could even buy his physical prints of the pool rooms on his website.
What?
between two other locations or
with keeping the children.
location of this picture hopes of this dream. Crab restaurant in Ramallah, Palestine, and that's because I don't. Taken inside houses are really hard to locate. Some of my favorite liminal space pictures are ones like these, and I'll likely never know their true location. With that said, this one is one of the more popular liminal space photos that's been taken inside of a house. I'm not too sure how to go about this entry because I don't want to possibly dox the people that live in this house, but anyway, here's a little showcase of the entire inside and outside of the house, and you can try and find it for yourself on redfin.com. And while on the topic of liminal space houses, I've always wondered where the origin of images like these came from. Luckily for me and everyone watching, where the origin of images like these came from.
That doesn't look like it really. That's like it's weird.
Many other strange looking in reality, multiple different images that it gives her set. Gabrielle dates back to at least 2019, any other beautiful.
Could have sworn visiting in my own life.
What the heck? What?
I think I came across this picture on Pinterest, and I had a little freak out because it looked very similar to a small water park I visited as a little kid. I specifically remember the slides being blue and being lined up like the way they are in the picture. I also had a vivid memory of this bullet slide, but I had to make sure that my suspicion was true. The water park I remember this being at was this place called Dry Gulch. To my surprise, the water slides at Dry Gulch are quite different from what I remember, so no, I have not been to the water slides in this picture. And even if I still believe that I've been to this picture in real life, that would be impossible because this is a pool at the Krishna Hotel and Garden Restaurant in India. If you made it to the end, I just want to say so long features community for quality content.
It was almost a decade ago. I was in the Adirondack Mountains for a hiking and skiing trip. I rented an Airbnb cabin for the week, kind of nestled in its own private section of woods, perfect for skiers and hikers. Though there was news of an incoming blizzard all of a sudden one day that week. I wasn't just going to cut my trip 3 days short though, and I already paid for it. I think it was a Friday, I don't remember, but I woke up that morning to knocks at the front door of my cabin. I looked out the window in my bedroom. I was greeted with nothing but white sheets of snow covering everything, with heavy snow still piling on. I looked to the front door, and there was this woman in a parka who looked rather distressed. I quickly threw on a change of clothes and opened the door. She was some 40-something-year-old woman. Her cheeks were red, and she looked freezing. She asked, in I guess as polite way as possible, if she could seek shelter here until the storm blew over. I figured it was the gentleman thing to do. So I invited her in and told her to make herself comfortable while I heated up some coffee. She plopped herself down on the couch and asked if I lived here. I told her it was just an Airbnb, then asked where she was coming from. She said she also rented an Airbnb up here, but she got caught in the blizzard and couldn't find her way back. She said her name was Meredith. I handed her a cup of coffee, but she refused it and said she was really tired, and she asked if she could just rest on the couch. I allowed it, though, as I ate my breakfast. I can't lie, I felt really awkward. I didn't really know what to do after my breakfast. I didn't feel comfortable just hanging in the living room kitchen area, so I went back to my room to watch TV. The snow was really coming down outside, and the wind was so aggressive that the whistling shrieked through the windows. Not too long after, another knock at the door. I once again looked out the window. This time there was a man outside. I went to open the door, with Meredith now sitting up on the couch, asking who it was. I told her I don't know, then I opened the door. It was like deja vu because the man basically gave the same story, that he was caught in the blizzard and needed a place to stay. At this point, having already let Meredith in, I had to let him in too. I told him the same thing I told her, make yourself comfortable. He introduced himself as Mark, Meredith and Mark. They introduced themselves to each other as well, and they had a laugh at the fact that they were both in the same boat. Then they both kind of playfully praised me for letting them in. Meredith seemed more lively now, more open to conversation. So we talked about a bunch of random stuff until there was nothing really left to talk about. The day dragged on into the night. It grew dark and cold inside the cabin. The snow was showing no signs of receding. I offered them whatever food was in the fridge throughout the day. Unfortunately for me, it seemed it was approaching that time that I had to designate where they would be sleeping. But Meredith kind of did that for me. She asked if I would allow the two of them to stay here for the night. I had to say yes. So they both slept on the couches. I slept in my room, of course. I fell asleep rather easily, with the knowledge that my belongings were under my bed and couldn't be easily stolen by these two strangers. I'm usually a heavy sleeper, but this night I woke up to a loud thump. I sat up. The door to my bedroom was open, and the sound of the outside wind was incredibly loud. I discovered the front door to the cabin was open too, and neither Meredith nor Mark were on the couch. I went out to the porch for a second, just to look into the woods. There were fresh-looking footsteps leading into the snow, and I could see Meredith just standing out there in the snow, facing me, holding what looked to be my travel bag. I yelled at her to come back here, along with a few choice words. I ran to my room to get my boots. As I rushed to put the boots on while on the couch, I noticed my bedroom door was now shut. I 100% did not close that door. Was I about to open it? Hell no. Especially not after I heard footsteps on the other side of the door. I got my boots and coat on and ran to the front porch again. But now Meredith wasn't alone. Someone, a man, I couldn't tell if it was Mark or not, was standing next to her, holding her hand, and they were both facing the house. I didn't care about the bag anymore. I ran to my Jeep and drove through the 3 feet of snow. There had to be more than just those two people in the house that night, because someone else was in the bedroom. I was too nice. I let my guard down with two strangers, and I paid the price. I'm just happy they didn't kill me, though. Somehow I got the vibe they were trying to do more than just rob me of my bag. My older brother and I used to love to play out in the snow. We live by the woods. I'm not giving my town or state or any other details of our location, though. One night, our parents let us go outside to play in the blizzard. We figured playing hide and seek would be fun since the footprints in the snow would create a new factor in the game. So I was the one hiding first. We were playing in the woods with flashlights. I turned mine off once I found a place to hide, just to not give away my location. I ducked down in the deep snow between two big trees. I tried covering my tracks in the snow, but I couldn't possibly get all of them. I saw my brother's flashlight in the distance, coming in my direction. He was definitely going to find me, so I ran in the dark, deeper into the woods. I definitely lost him because I didn't see his light anymore, or maybe he turned it off. Also, we knew these woods, and I knew which direction I was going. I wasn't going to get lost. Eventually, as I kept walking, though, I found another trail of footprints. They seemed like they were left there only a few minutes ago, so I started following them, expecting to find a deer at the end. As the footprints became more fresh, however, I started to realize they were boot prints, not animal footprints. This also meant I was getting closer to whoever just left these boot prints. I was thinking at first that it was my brother. Maybe he ran past me without me hearing it. I only thought that because I didn't see how or why anyone else would be out here in the middle of a blizzard. With my light still on, I noticed something black sticking out of this big pile of snow, which seemed to sit right next to the boot marks. I stopped and examined it, and brushed some of the snow off the object. I brushed enough snow off to realize it was a big black garbage bag. This didn't look good. What? I already smelled something foul in there. Garbage? That's what I was hoping for. I tried to find the opening of the bag, and eventually just gave up and tore the bag open with my nails. I gagged the instant I saw what was inside. A decomposing human body. Oh shit. When I say gagged, I'm talking coughing loudly and uncontrollably in shock and disgust. And I think that gave away my position to my brother, because pretty soon his light started shining on me. I turned to him, his light in my face, and made a hand motion signaling for him to run, like go home. Rightfully so, he was confused and kept approaching me, so I ran to him and told him to turn off his flashlight. I pointed at the bag and whispered what was inside. He didn't believe me, even after I begged him to just go home with me. He went to the bag to see for himself, and when he saw I wasn't lying, he put his hand over his mouth. As the older brother, he started guiding me and nudging me back to the house, trying not to make a sound. Though, as we moved, we kept looking back, thinking we heard footsteps in the snow behind us. We moved faster every time. He had to keep the flashlight on, otherwise it would be pitch black. Then, I think at the same time, we both looked back after hearing a footstep again, and saw about 50 feet away or so, there was someone standing there, right in the light of my brother's flashlight, watching. From there, we ran all the way back home. The man yelled something at us, but neither of us could make out what he said. We got back to the house 2 minutes later and told our parents, who called the police to report the dead body. The police came and asked us a bunch of questions, and they sent out a search team based on our description of the location. They didn't make us go back out there. The search turned up no results, but they resumed the next day in the daylight, which was when we were asked for assistance in retracing our steps. We did the best we could, but the body was never found. It wouldn't be much of a surprise if whoever was out there moved the body after realizing there were 2 witnesses. We were literally just little kids when this happened, and we were still being followed by possibly the person who hid that body there to begin with. I still wonder if we just narrowly escaped with our lives.
If you want to roll with style, bring the sabor. Modelo Chelada Limón y Sal. Authentic Mexican beer with refreshing flavors of lime and salt.
It started on the night of the first snowstorm of the year. I was off the next day for work, so I was just relaxing in my bed watching a movie, drinking hot cocoa.
Yoy.
And something hit my window that nearly gave me a heart attack. I looked at my window, saw the fresh mark of a snowball having just splattered over the glass. I opened to look outside, and I heard a kid's laughter. Well, that answered that. I closed the window again, and my attention shifted back to the movie. Not too long before, a second pow at the window, followed by the kid's laughter. This time I ignored it. I knew that by giving the kid a reaction, again, this time while I was asleep, I woke up to a much louder and more ferocious bang at the window from a snowball. I opened the window and took a look outside. Though it wasn't snowing anymore, I still couldn't see too far out onto the lawn, though I did hear the laughing of the kid again. It was a boy's laughter. It sounded like a 10-year-old. I
Wait,
yelled something out the window at him.
I have a feeling he's not going to see anyone.
Directed at a child. It did.
Yeah, I have a feeling that he's going to look out the window and not see anyone there, so yeah.
Didn't happen again that night. The next day, a lot of the snow had melted, but most of the ground was still covered in a white sheet. After turning off my light in my room, I lay awake, anticipating and dreading the sound of a snowball hitting the glass that would once again make me jump out of my skin. And just like clockwork, it happened. That goddamn kid was back. I was ready
it's
this
gotta
time.
be like some sort of
I
ghost.
jumped out of bed and looked out the window. This time, I saw just for maybe half a second the back of a kid running away into the darkness.
Wait, what?
I threw on my shoes and coat and ran outside to find him.
Some kids actually.
I found where his footsteps started at my window, and I followed them. I ran as fast as I could, trying to catch up to him. His footprints led me down a grass field until I reached a road.
Oh no!
The footprints stopped at a big sycamore tree. Wrapped around it were 2 white bands of flowers. There was also a wooden cross planted in front of the tree. It was a memorial for a fatal car crash here.
What?
I double and then triple checked to see if footsteps went any other direction, but they mysteriously stopped right there. I walked back home and went to bed, a bit disturbed. The next day I did some research and inquired with some locals, and I found out a mother and her son died in a car crash running into that tree. When I learned this, I got goosebumps, but I didn't want to find out how old the son was. I couldn't bring myself to do it. God.
Wait, they said he saw the back of a kid's head though. Well, but it was like a ghost kid though. How would he see the kid's head if it was if they weren't alive? Like that's creepy.
Yeah.
Forbid the son was around 10 years old. I'd forever be haunted by this, even more so than I already am.
Oh, so it was like some dead kid. He was leading him to. He was like whatever, leading him to like where he died or something.
Night. I thought I heard a child laughter outside my window, but it may have just been my imagination running wild. I had to take sleeping pills for a whole month just so that I wouldn't be awake, terrified all night. went to a somewhat typical high school. Not in a traditional American suburb, but a more rural set high school. Some kids go to schools with graduating classes of like 500 to hell, even 1,000 kids. My high school had, I think, a little less than 200 kids in my graduating class. It was the kind of high school where even if you weren't friends with someone, you still knew them by face and name. Walking down the hallways, you'd know basically 99% of your peers, at least in your own graduating class. Coming from a quiet town, there weren't a lot of crazy news stories, really. It was pretty uneventful there. What we did for fun after school was actually go out and play sports and ride our bikes around and stuff like that. This was like 17 years ago, though, so I guess things may be a lot different these days for kids. Another thing I always felt that was unique about our school was that there didn't really seem to be any bullying for the most part. Like, at least not the typical cliche movie-style bullying, where kids are getting pushed into lockers or having their lunch money stolen. When I think back now, I can't really name a single kid from my graduating class who could be labeled as a bully. Sure, there were kids who just tease others, but nothing too serious. Of course, there were quiet kids in our grade, like every school has. There was one kid in my grade who literally never spoke at all. I'm gonna just name him Luke for this story. He wasn't even a weird-looking kid or anything. He seemed pretty nice to people who went out of their way to interact with him. I shared one class with him, though. It was an elective that had kids from all 4 grades in it. Luke and I were juniors when this happened. This elective was a computer class, and back when this happened, the computer rooms in our high school were still rocking those big, bulky box computers. I remember the layout of this classroom. There was the aisle in the middle separating 2 columns of tables, and the 2 columns had 4 rows each. Each row had 4 seats, and each student had their own computer. This class wasn't full, so there were probably like 26 filled seats out of 32. Luke always sat in the second row in the further seat to the left with no one next to him, as everyone else sat with people they knew from their respective grades. Unfortunately, not long into the semester, the seniors in the class started collectively picking on Luke. By this, I mean some of the seniors would make jokes about how quiet Luke was, that it was scary when the teacher would ask certain things. For whatever reason, our teacher never stood up for Luke and told them to cut it out. The teacher was a bit of a pushover.
I mean, yeah, teachers are like that. They don't. No one stands up. Like no one will stand up for the kids that get bullied and stuff. That is true.
From what I remember, maybe that was why. As the semester went on, it got a little worse. I remember at one point seeing a small piece of paper fly from the back row from the seniors right to the back of Luke's head. I remember he turned around and had this.
Oh, he like, let me guess, Taylor. They're gonna like push him, and then he's gonna snap or something. He's gonna do something horrible or something.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what he'll do. Like I don't know, like hurts him. I don't know.
It's a very telling look. Seniors continued to make fun. One of them saying, "Wasn't me," and blaming one of the other seniors. The look on Luke's face just looked like a mix of sadness, anger, and just defeatedness. I genuinely felt bad, but I didn't get involved. Eventually, one day I saw Luke sitting on a curb not far from the high school after school ended one day. I passed by him as I was walking to my car. I had an early birthday, so I was driving around halfway through junior year. Given we were in a quiet area, no one was exactly walking distance from school. So I did the right thing and said, "What's up?" and asked if he needed a ride home. His face literally lit up a bit as he said yes. We walked to my car, and from there on, he guided me to his house. It was about a 10-minute drive to his house. We talked a lot during that car ride. I told him he should just ignore the seniors in our computer class. I said they're a bunch of deadbeats anyway. He said they're not the only ones that he's sick of. He implied that he deals with people picking on him in multiple classes, which honestly made me feel pretty terrible for him.
Oh.
In those 10 minutes, I felt like I learned a lot.
You can say like he's getting picked on outside of school too or something.
About Luke and got to know him as a person just a bit, and he seemed like a decent kid. As I dropped him off, I made a comment to him about how close we lived, and then we said goodbye. Every day in class after that, we'd say hey to each other, but admittedly, I unfortunately never got involved whenever he got picked on. Well, one day, Luke didn't show up to class. Computer class was 4th period. It wasn't until 7th period English that an announcement came over the loudspeaker.
I don't blame him for not
saying, "Lockdown, this is not a drill." I remember everyone looking around nervously, and I remember our teacher looking the most nervous. She ran to turn off the lights and told everyone to hurry to one corner of the room. Seeing how nervous our teacher was only made all the students even more nervous. We sat with the lights off for a long time. It had to be 20 to 30 minutes until there was another message on the loudspeaker. It was the principal, explaining that there was someone in a mask carrying a black duffel bag trying to get into the school. Our school had really good security, and when someone spotted that person approaching the school with what could only be assumed to be guns or any kind of weapons in that duffel bag, the door...
Oh, shoot! Taylor. You know, the kid probably is going to be like, going to shoot up the school or something. Yeah, it's probably, I was fearing that the kid's gonna go like get fed up with it, or he's gonna snap.
We're all locked. The school day was cut short after that once a few police cars were on the scene. I remember it being a Friday, so I took a few of my friends home to my house so we could hang out. I'd be lying if I said I remember the small details thereafter of that day. But I think it was that same night that I woke up in the middle of the night to light tapping at my window.
Oh, what?
And I could see someone on the other side of the glass. I started freaking out, and before running to get my dad, I took a closer look and then said, "Who is it?" I heard Luke's voice as he said his name.
What?
It felt like my heart dropped a second time. I went over to the window and lifted it just a crack. I said, "What are you doing? How did you find me?" And he said through the window, "I tried to do something bad." And it instantly clicked. I mean it. It instantly clicked in my head that it was him. Before he could even tell me, I said, "Was it you who caused the lockdown?" And he said yes. I was scared to ask him what he was planning on doing. Instead, I asked him how he found me. He admitted to remembering the deli that I said I lived by. Eventually found my car after biking around the area.
Oh.
That explanation didn't make it any less disturbing. Luke asked me if he could come in and talk about what he planned on doing. And I said, no, I cannot let him, nor can I hear what he planned on doing. I actually recommended he go to the school and confess to whatever he was going to do. And when he refused to walk away from my window, I said, "Dad," really loudly, which worked in scaring him off. I went to my parents' room and woke them up to tell them. My mom was the one who insisted on calling the police. She was distraught. When a police officer eventually came, I had no choice but to tell the truth. I gave Luke's identity, and I explained that he had just come to my window, admitting to potentially almost doing something horrible at the school. Obviously, the police were already aware of the lock.
Oh no, he's gonna be mad at him for getting him like ratting him out and stuff.
Yeah.
He's gonna try to like kill him, or he's gonna do something he's gonna do him or something. Oh, so he was gonna like do
Lockdown. So I believe police were sent to his house that night, but after speaking with Luke's parents, they realized Luke wasn't there. I believe it was the next day that Luke was either found or he just returned home and police were still waiting there, and he confessed to what he told me. As far as our graduating class knew, Luke was charged with something like making a terroristic threat. I know he did time, and I know he's been out a long time. To be honest, I don't really know if he's still around. Part of me always wanted to feel bad for Luke, witnessing how loneliness and getting picked on can probably eat away at someone. He followed me and came to me simply because I showed him an act of kindness, something I unfortunately believe nobody else showed him. Still, the fact that he admitted to bringing a gun to school with a mask on, even if he didn't admit to intending on carrying out the implied threat, I can't fully believe he simply came to the school with a gun just to scare people. I think he for a split second had a horrible plan and got cold feet and regretted it. I just hope Luke eventually got the help he needed.
Dang. It's crazy.
This happened in 2016, back when I was in 5th grade. If you remember that year, you probably remember all the killer clown sightings that were happening around the country.
Yep.
At the time, it was all over the news and social media.
Oh, heck no.
Most adults thought it was just some dumb trend or prank, but for young kids, it was actually pretty scary. It was a normal day at school. I went to an elementary school in a quiet suburban area where I still live. Nothing weird ever really happens here.
Clown.
It was around 1 p.m. and staring in at us with this big fake grin. After a few seconds, he started waving slowly. Some of the kids thought it was funny and laughed. Others were clearly freaked out. Our teacher, Mrs. Riker, walked over to the window, looked at the guy for a second, and then said through the glass, loud and annoyed, "Excuse me, classes are in session. You need to get out of here." Clown didn't react at all. He just kept standing there, smiling and waving.
Clown didn't react at all. Didn't care. It's probably it has like it's probably like wanted to kill somebody or something.
Mrs. Riker told us all to sit back down and said she was calling the front office. She picked up the corded classroom phone and then walked into the hallway with it and spoke quietly. The phones in the classrooms were always next to the door, so that's how she was able to walk outside the room with it. She came back in moments later and then hung up. She walked over to the window and shut all the blinds after she saw that the man in the clown costume was still there, doing the same creepy waving motion, smiling, and general clownish mannerisms. Not even 2 minutes later, the principal's voice came over the loudspeaker. "Staff, please get your classrooms into lockdown formation." There was a sense of urgency in the voice that, looking back, was probably to alert the teachers that it wasn't a drill without causing all the kids to go into a panic. That's when it got serious. Mrs. Riker rushed to turn off the lights and told us all to get under our desks. She pulled the door shut and locked it. Everyone was quiet. Some kids were giggling, but others looked scared. I was definitely
They were
scared.
laughing.
We stayed like that for what felt like forever, but it was actually about 30 minutes. Nobody knew what was happening.
So what the clown's gonna like? It's gonna try to kill people or something. What?
Eventually, the principal came back on the loudspeaker and said the lockdown was over and that the situation had been handled. Apparently, school security had confirmed that the clown was gone. They didn't tell us anything else. Classes went on like normal for the rest of the day. It felt weird. Everyone was talking about it during dismissal, but the teachers didn't say much. Then, after school, I was walking home with my friend Chris. We lived in the same neighborhood, just a few blocks away. While we were walking, a couple of 5th grade girls behind us suddenly ran past us, looking panicked.
Oh, shoot.
One of them said, "There's someone in the woods." We stopped and turned around.
No.
Behind the school, there's a small patch of trees. It's not deep woods or anything, just enough to separate the school from the street behind it. And standing just barely out of view, near the edge of the woods, was the clown again. Same dirty outfit, same painted face.
My God. It's
He was
probably
half hidden by the tree.
Probably just trying to creep people out or something. So like, I don't know.
But he was clearly waving, and he wasn't.
Yeah.
This incident took place on March 30th, 2020, when the lockdowns were slowly taking place. Where I taught, the school was rather distant from anywhere. The next school was about 10 miles. The gas station was about 2 miles. And the nearest park was about 600 meters from where we were. So we were one of the last schools to go into lockdown. Around midday of March, it was a normal heated Monday. I was teaching math at that time for the 6th graders. All of a sudden, I get a notification on my phone that someone was here to pick up my stepdaughter. The system that works is the main emergency number gets a notification if someone is picking up your child. The thing is, my stepdaughter was 3 classes down from me. She had no appointments, no close family that lived in a good radius from us.
Some random.
I replied that I'm here at school and no one in a 10-mile radius is picking her up. This was sending alarm bells off left and right. They said that the person picking her up was her biological dad. The school doesn't have that type of information on file.
That's not true.
A few minutes go by on the phone and it's dead silent. The lady tells me she's going to call the principal and see what he wants to do from there. A gut feeling didn't sit right with me. I called my stepdaughter's classroom and asked for her to be sent to my room. Just as I hung up, I was back to teaching when my stepdaughter came into the classroom. Not even 10 minutes later, the lockdown siren went off. I had kids push desks to the door and barricade the windows, and everyone sat in the corner. I had a pretty good feeling on who this lockdown was about. We were in a lockdown for about 46 minutes at this point. My main concern was how did he end up getting out?
46
About 2 hours later, the lockdown was lifted, and I was escorted out by the police. I was further questioned on how I knew this man due to the CPS records. I said I took my best friend's daughter in and explained the whole story. Police informed me that how he had gotten out was a prison bus transporting inmates to another cell, but a car came swerving in and crashed into the prison bus, leaving 10 prisoners dead on the scene, 2 prison guards knocked out, and 20 escaped.
10 prisoners dead? Oh shoot! You said it crashed and prisoners died? Oh shoot!
There were police already at our house waiting for the dad to show up, but he never did. When they heard the lockdown at the school, they knew it was one of the prisoners. If they had never gotten there on time, I honestly have no idea what would have happened. This happened during my freshman year of high school. I'm 21 now, and I still think about it all the time. I went to a public school in a pretty average suburban town. We did lockdown drills maybe once every couple months, so when this one started, that's exactly what I thought it was, just a drill. It was a Wednesday, 4th period. I remember because it was earth science, and we had just finished a pop quiz. I was putting my stuff into my backpack when the loudspeaker came on and said, "This is a lockdown. Lock all doors, lights off, stay quiet." At first, nobody panicked. Our teacher, Mrs. Chen, sighed, got up, and locked the door like usual. She turned off the lights and told us all to get into the corner of the room, away from the door. Everyone was laughing a little and whispering like it was no big deal. But then we heard a second announcement. Same voice, but it sounded different.
I don't think I've ever been. Were you ever in that? Have you ever been in that street where there was some sort of, I don't know, like a shooting or something like that? Someone wanted to do something, or I was going to do something.
Well, there were a few in high school, but those lockdowns weren't for anywhere close, so it's just for a crime that happened in, let's say, a nearby city.
Oh, so that happened?
Yeah.
Was it at a school? Was it like a school? So?
Well, it just caused the school, to lock all doors. But yeah, once there was, let's say it was a violent crime that happened in a city, I'd say about 10 to 20 miles away.
More rushed. "This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill." That's when the room went silent. My teacher didn't say a word. She just motioned for everyone to stay down and keep quiet. I could tell even she was nervous now. She kept checking her phone, and we could hear faint, distant police sirens outside. A few minutes passed, and we heard something from the hallway. Footsteps. Slow ones, and not in a hurry like a cop or a teacher, just one person walking. They stopped right in front of our classroom. We were all staring at the door. Nobody breathed. Then came a knock. Not loud, just a soft, slow knock, 3 times. Nobody moved. Then the doorknob turned. They tried to open it, but it was locked, obviously, but they kept trying. Not aggressively, just turning the handle back and forth like they were checking. And then a male's voice on the other side said, "This is just a drill. You can open the door now." We all collectively looked.
Okay. Taylor.
Yeah.
The person on the side of the door said it's just a drill. It's just a drill. It's over now. It's over now. Yeah,
No,
right. Lure. Yeah, that's right.
I think that's the real shooter.
They're just trying to lure
looked at Mrs. Chen, and then she looked back at all of us, put her finger up to her lips, and shook her head no. The person on the other side of the door kept knocking and trying the doorknob, and eventually the knocks got more aggressive as the voice of the man on the other side kept saying, "Hello?" Our classroom was on the first floor in the science wing. I can't tell you how much I was shaking in my shoes. I know even if all the other kids didn't want to admit it, they were as well. Eventually, the knock stopped, and the man must have walked away. We heard nothing after that for a solid 5 minutes. Total silence, apart from the police sirens outside getting louder. It felt like forever. Then, someone down the hall screamed. It was a girl. Just one scream, and then nothing. A couple of people in my class started crying quietly. Honestly, it was the girls. Someone whispered that they saw a shadow move past the little glass window on the classroom door on several occasions. Each time anyone spoke, even quietly, Mrs. Chen gave a stern but quiet shh. Another 5 or 10 minutes passed. Then, finally, we heard the sound of police officers shouting from down the hallway, telling everyone to stay in place. They were going room to room, and when they finally knocked on our door and unlocked it with a key, Mrs. Chen didn't even move until they showed their badges. We were all escorted out in a line, past other classes doing the same thing. There were cop cars everywhere outside, even a SWAT van. I didn't see anything too crazy, but I did see one officer leading a guy in cuffs out of the building. He looked about 30. Not a student, pale, long hair, wearing dark clothes.
This is easily the most organized buying section I've.
Yeah, I think it depends. I think sometimes it depends on like what area you're in, because some areas are more like crime and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think I don't think that this like state is. I mean, there can be probably, but I mean, I don't think in this particular area. Maybe more like downtown, or something like that, or farther away. Yeah.
Yoi. Uh, oh. Yeah.
I'm probably gonna play one more video, and then I'm right and I'm just not feeling very well.
Yeah.
All right, dog.
Yeah.
Where's your dog, Taylor? Is he in there? Is he in the room?
No, just in the house.
Ooh.
Built to meet any brief.
Oh, what the? Oh, it's creepy. Why are they showing from a point of view? They should do this from-
What you want? What? I'm just an instruction.
That is kind of creepy. That is kind of creepy, honestly.
Right, so yeah, so that's gonna be it for the stream then.
No, we'll do one. No, we'll do a better video. We'll do some Mr. Nammer video.
Yeah.
20 minutes. Man, it's just internet stuff is creepier than horror movies. Even like the horror movies aren't as creepy as some of this internet stuff. Like when I was seeing horror movies before, they're not even close to as creepy as like some of this internet. Some of this internet stuff is just like really creepy. Like it's just unsettling. Like the creepypastas and stuff. And there's like found footage, and like I think look at this type of stuff. This is just weird. Like I don't know.
If you're like most people, you've probably
5 first-hand stories where nightmares read into reality. What? You read
probably at one point had the
What does that
experience
mean?
of your
What do you
alarm
read?
clock becoming a part of your dream before waking up. Or perhaps had some other
Oh,
sound
it
like
became
the
like a
TV
truth.
you left
It
on
became
before
being
falling
true.
asleep influence your
Like within
dreams.
your, maybe it was in like your
But what
dream
would
or
happen if
something.
reality influenced your dreams during a nightmare? Well, it would probably only add to the horror. While all the stories on this list are creepy, some are more unexplainable than others. Here are 5 first-hand stories of people whose nightmares have strangely read into reality.
That's weird.
Number 5. This story was submitted to me by Earl Feinhardt. It was a long and stressful day, so falling asleep was easy. I think a dream started to fade in around halfway through the night. It wasn't a pleasant dream. I'll try to describe it the best I could. I was in the woods outside of a giant castle. Everything was black except for the night sky, which had a hint of blue. I remember this horrifying sound coming from inside the castle, as if something were calling me. It's downright disturbing to think about it even now. The sound was some kind of demonic, hellish voice, and it echoed through the woods. I somehow knew it was coming from inside the castle, and yet it sounded as if the source of the sound was a few hundred feet away from me. This was not a lucid dream. I had no conscious control over myself. So
Well,
I
what is
made
it
my
then?
way
It was
to
like
the
wasn't even a
castle.
dream. It's like
There were no doors. It was as if the inside of this castle was also the outside. I don't know how else to describe it.
what?
The sound of the demonic voice was no doubt getting louder,
First,
and
like
as I
what's
walked
the
the
weird
open
nightmare?
corridors of the castle, the halls started to become more narrow, and I felt myself banging into the walls as I dragged myself along. The sounds of the screaming were coming from beyond a door on my left. I entered, and I swear to God, there was nothing but blackness in the room, and yet I still felt myself moving closer to the sound. I banged into something, and that's when I woke up, hunched over my 4-year-old son's bed, who was crying and horrified.
Oh!
He had been screaming because he also had a nightmare, and I scared him even more, as he described the way I walked in and then stopped in front of his
A little
bed,
kid had a
slowly
nightmare.
lowering myself
Oh,
closer to him.
Jordan Davis here.
A little kid had a nightmare too.
I tell y'all how excited I am.
That's crazy.
Number 4. This story was posted by a forum user named Joey Mancuso. I just want to point out before sharing my story that I am an atheist and do not believe in any kinds of miracles, gods, or anything of that sort. However, I still don't know how to explain this. I was having a really disturbing dream. It seemed to be Halloween night, and I was with my friends trick-or-treating. We hit 2 houses. The first one was normal from what I remember. When we rang the doorbell to a second house, the door opened on its own into a darkish blue living room. I stepped inside, and my friends were gone at this point. I looked around the room I was in. The door I had just entered from no longer existed. In fact, the whole room seemed to have rapidly changed appearance,
What?
a common occurrence in dreams. After exploring the house, I came to a room upstairs, even though I didn't remember climbing the stairs. On the wall I was facing was a giant framed picture, I mean at least 10 meters long and 20 meters wide. The picture was of my 30-year-old cousin, who I hadn't seen in years.
What?
Her eyes were enlarged to an uncomfortable amount, and they followed me everywhere I went.
That's
The
odd.
giant portrait suddenly cracked, and the rusty, scratchy, ear-piercing sound of the giant nails holding the portrait on the wall painfully filled my ears. The portrait started to fall off the wall, and I watched, completely frozen, as it fell on top of me. But before it could crush me, I was awake. It was maybe 5 in the morning. Minutes after waking up, my cell phone rang. I picked up. It was my uncle calling to tell me that my cousin had just overdosed on heroin and died.
What?
Number 3. I was having a nightmare that started off with me in my house reading a newspaper. Then the lights went out, and the dream started to focus on my trying to find out why the power was cut. The fuse box was apparently in the basement in this dream, which is, by the way, inaccurate to real life. I went down to the basement with a flashlight and
Not the
opened up the
basement,
fuse
no.
box.
Going down to the basement
There was
in
a
a
sticky
dream?
note inside
Oh,
saying,
no.
"Go back upstairs to the red room." While still in the
Yeah, that's
basement,
creepy.
I started...
You just like you never actually been in like like you say you've never actually been in the basement or like an attic, and then you're just like in your nightmares and that you're in like an attic or something like that. There's like you just like there's something up there.
Yeah.
That'd be creepy. That's creepy.
One time I had a
sound coming from the
nightmare that
boiler room.
Bigfoot was in my garage.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like a crawl space or something like that. I've never been in a crawl space.
/ laundry room. My brain knew my childhood fears, and it seemed to be taking advantage of them in this nightmare. The door to the boiler room cracked open, and something poked its head out to look at me.
Oh.
I left the basement after seeing this, following the sticky note's orders. I went upstairs to the second floor of the house, and there was a glowing red door at the end of the hall, a door that doesn't actually exist in my real house. Now, there was a disturbing echoing sound coming from beyond the door, and as I got closer, it became more clear that it was a voice chanting the number 314, 314. I opened the door, and there was just a chair in the room, facing the wall across from me. The room was as red as the glow that had been illuminating through the door. The voice chanting 314 was clearer now. It was an extremely creepy voice, almost feeling like it was speaking into my ear. I woke up abruptly, with my heart beating somewhat quickly. I grabbed my iPhone that was sitting on the desk next to me to check the time. It was 3:14 a.m. You may think I just saw a clock while half awake or something, but I have no digital clocks in my room. The only clock would be the one on my iPhone that was in the same position as I had left it before going to bed. To this day, I have no idea how my dream knew it was 3:14, or if there was supposed to be some kind of meaning behind it.
Well,
Number 2.
314 is the
This one
first
was
three
from an
numbers
Ask
in
Reddit
pi.
post. It was a night during the summer 2015. I was high out of my mind after a party. I was fortunate enough to not get caught by my parents as I walked to my room to get straight to bed.
It's a little bit creepy, but as long as if it doesn't have any meaning to it, then it's not like that creepy, you know. It's not still kind of creepy though, you know.
I was at the part of my high where I was just exhausted and wanted to get some sleep, and so I fell asleep in probably 10 minutes or less. Have you ever heard about that idea that smoking pot and then going to sleep high alters your dreams or gives you some kind of enhanced dreaming capabilities? Well, after this one, I won't be fighting that theory. I don't remember anything before this dream. It started out with me in the woods in the middle of the night. In real life, you would just be surrounded by trees and the sounds of night critters, nothing special. But being that this was a dream, it was much worse. There were ghostly wind sounds coming from everywhere. Instead of bug noises, there were wolf howls and sounds of footsteps coming from behind me. There was that magically horrifying feeling of a dream that you just can't describe, but it made it so much more than just being trapped in the woods. I found myself running away from the footsteps that were consistently the same distance behind me until reaching a building in the middle of the woods. Of course, I went inside and boarded the door shut with planks that seemed to have come out of nowhere. This dream seemed to have gone on forever, too long to describe it all, but to summarize, I was in that building, which turned out to be a house, and the footsteps that were following me from outside were circling the house. I tried to find a weapon, but the house was almost completely empty. Everything was black and white at this point. While sitting on a couch in the living room, one of the only pieces of furniture there was a shadow that appeared at the window, and shortly after, the figure standing outside knocked on the window. It kept knocking and knocking until I woke up, but the knocking didn't stop.
But there was actual knocking at his actual window. Oh, I'll be
I
terrified.
jumped out of bed when I realized someone was at my window, looking in and knocking. I squealed for my dad, and the figure at the window ran off. I'm still open to the possibility that my high hadn't completely worn off, and that it might have been a partial wake-up hallucination, but it was also so real that, at the same time, I have to believe it actually happened. The sound was real, and the figure at my window was real. My dad and I looked around the property to find no one. He told me I just had a bad dream and to go back to sleep. I hope he was right. Number 1. I was having a horrifying dream, possibly the most disturbing nightmare of my life. I was in my house, or the closest thing to my house that my dream could produce. Ironically enough, I was in bed in this dream, or at least I can only start remembering past the point of my lying in bed, and all of a sudden, the sound came from downstairs. I walked downstairs in the dark, not turning on any lights, to where I thought the sound was coming from. I was on my middle floor now. The dream was telling me to go downstairs to my laundry room, and so I did. But as I got there, expecting the noise to be louder and closer, it sounded like it was just as far as before.
What?
Now I was going upstairs to the kitchen, and it's strange. Outside of every window was complete blackness, not general nighttime darkness. There was nothingness. I think all that existed in this dream was my house.
Oh, wow.
Now my dream started to suggest that the banging sounds were coming from upstairs, so I went back upstairs and was eventually led to the attic door.
Oh, no.
It was surely beyond that door. I opened it. There was an old woman standing by a bunch of boxes.
Oh.
She was slowly but loudly slamming her hand on one of the boxes, producing an unnatural sound.
Oh.
I tried to quietly step back away from the attic, but the old woman turned around, opened her mouth twice as wide as anyone humanly could, reached out her arms, began to scream, and leaped toward me. That's when I woke up. I thought it was just a horrific dream, but when I heard a bang coming from downstairs, a bang similar to what I heard in my dream,
It sounds
I felt my heart
like
completely drop.
in his dream.
On my way downstairs, there was another bang. It was the front door. I got the butcher knife from my knife holder in the kitchen and crouched behind the door.
These are creepy.
I was waiting for the next time he would pound on the door, and I would warn him to go away. I waited for a good minute in silence, and finally decided to take a quick look through the window. There was somebody standing in my driveway. I couldn't tell if he was facing me or looking at me or not, but he was surely the one who was pounding on my door at 4 a.m. He walked away down the sidewalk moments after he must have noticed me. The pounding on my door was the kind of pounding you would expect from someone trying to break in a door, not to get a house owner's attention. I thought it was just crazy and horrifying that the pounding and banging from this potential robber or killer didn't wake me up, rather became the key point to a horrifying dream.
Dang. These are really creepy.
Yeah.
Let me watch one more. Find a good one to watch. Those ones are like shorter, like short ones. I think it's really creepy.
Jane,
2017, a YouTuber named Phil has been uploading videos of his hiking trips to his channel Hike Slam, where he gives his viewers a glimpse into everything he does to prepare for a long hike, camp alone in the middle of the woods, choose the right hiking gear, and pretty much everything related to the outdoors. On the night before Thanksgiving 2021, Phil went on an overnight hike to camp on the Appalachian Trail near his house in Virginia. For the first half hour of his hike, things kick off pretty normally, but after a while, he finds some odd-looking trash lying on the side of the trail. Strangely, there appears to be some writing on some of the containers he finds, which appear to be song lyrics, though it's hard to imagine why anyone would go through the trouble of writing out entire songs or poems on a plastic container only to later throw it on the side of the trail. As he crosses the boundary into the wilderness, things continue to get stranger and stranger, and as he nears the campsite, Phil finds another series of disturbing notes.
The weirdness continues. What the? And there's a dead duck here.
A dead duck?
Yeah.
Some of the notes appear to contain cryptic poems, others seem to talk about pretty in-depth conspiracy theories and undercover federal agents or something, and the rest appear to be biographical, with whoever wrote them telling parts of their story. It's tough to confirm if the person who wrote the notes was the same person who killed the duck, but honestly, it would be too much of a coincidence for the dead duck to be lying right there next to the series of creepy notes, which were obviously placed there recently considering they're in good condition and not wet. After taking in the eerie scene, Phil notices a tarp and a fire next to a campsite about 20 yards away from the notes and the dead duck. Staying as far away as possible from the campsite, he continues making his way up to a shelter. Although this next part wasn't caught on camera, Phil then reported that he saw two women coming down the trail with their dog, asking him if he had seen the guy who was leaving the creepy notes and dead animals on the side of the trail. When Phil mentioned he saw a campsite and a fire a few yards away from the notes, the woman got scared and asked him to walk back to their car with them. Thinking it was probably a good idea to move as far away as possible from the campsite anyway, Phil went back with them and then started hiking in the other direction to find a safer place to spend the night. Fortunately, the rest of his hike to the new shelter was a lot more uneventful for Phil, and once he got there, he was able to set up a camp for the night, light a fire, and enjoy his dinner miles away from the disturbing notes he found. A few minutes later, once it got dark, Phil decided...
Oh, I want to feel safe out there, Taylor.
Yeah.
Is it camping out like in the especially in the woods?
To go into the shelter and check out the camp log and see some of the notes and stories other hikers had left behind. And that's when things get extremely creepy again.
I'm going to check out the shelter log here. I hang out by the fire. Almost every shelter on the Appalachian Trail has a shelter log where people write in their trail names and what's going on. They can write whatever they want in there. So it's kind of cool tradition here. So let's see what this one says. Little engine, back section. Hiking again, finally. It's nice and little trail magic. Some comics and writing and stuff. All right, let's see what's happened recently. Holy crap. Wait a second. Well, I'm adjust the camera here. This writing looks almost exactly like the writing that was on that garbage a couple of miles from here.
Even though the shelter where Phil's currently staying at is more than 2 miles away and on the other side of the road from the previous one, the handwriting in the camp log is exactly the same as the handwriting that was on the notes and garbage on the other side of the road. This is pretty disturbing in itself, but it gets even more so when Phil starts to actually read some of the content in the logbook.
2018, while I was incarcerated at the Okaloosa County Jail. What the heck? In solitary confinement, I figured the following out. Refer to Isaiah 28:15 through 9. This is the same ramblings from the guy that was on the other side of the river. That's kind of scary. Kind of weird. Those women down there said they were going to call the police on the guy. Wow, this is weird. It's just like it goes in one direction, then immediately goes in a completely different direction. And it's just so much of it.
According to plan, with the footage showing Gaz setting up his tent and chopping wood to make a fire while his dog Fendi keeps him company as the sun begins to set. This next part wasn't shown in the footage, but as Gaz started to prepare his steak dinner over the fire, a random man in jeans and a coat approached his campsite and asked him for a beer and some food.
Oh no.
We've got steaks on go now. Bit of ribeye. Pot boiling for some mash.
Beer?
And I've got a visitor. Creeped up behind me asking me if I had a light. Me pants.
Okay.
This is Martin anyway. I don't know him, but he's stopping for a steak, so.
Just some random crate wandering about.
You went round here in a poncho a couple of months ago, were you?
I don't think I was.
I wouldn't trust that guy.
Although the encounter with the man itself was pretty tame, it's
Is
still
there
pretty
recording
creepy to
on?
be camping in the woods in the middle of nowhere and suddenly be approached by a random guy asking for things. If you listen closely to what he's saying, some of the guy's sentences are a little incoherent, and he appears to ramble a bit when he talks, almost like he's kind of out of it. Later in the footage, Gaz reveals that Martin was homeless, and that as they shared their dinner, he told Gaz his story about how he had ruined his life with drugs, and how he had ended up walking alone in the woods that day. Disturbingly, Gaz also mentioned that while they were having dinner, he turned around for a few seconds to chop some more wood to keep the fire going, and when he turned back around, Martin had left the campsite unannounced without even thanking Gaz for the food. After the strange encounter, the uploader decided to leave the campsite and head home out of fear that the man would possibly tell his friends about meeting some guy camping out in the middle of the woods with expensive filming equipment lying around and suggest robbing him or possibly worse. To see if Martin would come back in the middle of the night with possibly ill intentions, Gaz actually left a trail camera on the tree at the campsite to capture everything that happened that night. Based on his behavior, it's pretty hard to gauge Martin's intentions and know whether he was just confused and possibly under the influence, or if he had something more sinister planned that evening. Either way, it's probably a good thing that Gaz left the campsite and didn't go back until the next morning, especially since when he did go back, his trail camera that he had left was completely gone.
Oh, damn.
Gil's been watching The Walking Dead for...
Actually hostile animals or something else. As the video progresses, the uploader makes a few comments and observations on his surroundings, and throughout the footage there doesn't appear to be anyone else in the forest with him. Around 13 minutes in though, an extremely disturbing sound takes the footage in a pretty dark direction.
Oh, hi. What? I need to get out of here. Oh, boy. Oh. Okay. That was creepy. I need to get out of here.
In the distance, probably a couple of 100 feet away from the uploader, a voice yells, "I see you." It's possible that the disturbing sound was made by a coyote or a fox, but because it sounded so much like "I see you," it could have also been another camper trying to mess with the uploader and scare him.
Like that.
Because the YouTuber had been talking and making noise almost the whole time, he might have inadvertently alerted someone else who may have wanted to play a prank on him just for the fun of it. Still, it's hard to imagine why anyone else would be wandering in the same secluded part of the woods as the uploader. What's most disturbing is that the person or animal or whatever it was that
not be out in the woods and look how dark
made the noise appeared to yell out right after the guy turned off his lamp, almost as if they were waiting for that to happen to yell out something disturbing. Luckily, the uploader was able to make it back to his campsite safely and has continued uploading outdoor footage to this day. Sam is a YouTuber from Cleveland, Ohio, who's been uploading videos of his stealth camping trips to his channel, The Northwest Wind, since 2016. For those of you who don't know, stealth camping just means parking your camper van pretty much anywhere without paying for parking, and people do it anywhere from residential neighborhoods.
I've like thought about doing that before, but it's also risky though. Like I would like to like maybe do like chill in like a van or something like that, or but it's risky that you could get like robbed or something, or like some creep trying to like get into at night or something. You know, like not like
to the middle of nowhere. In January 2024, Sam uploaded footage of his stealth camping trip to the woods in Cleveland, leaving his camper van at a local dog park a few hundred yards away. On his way into the woods, he finds a camping tent that's been shredded to pieces, which is honestly a little creepy, but he keeps going anyway. After setting up his tent in the woods, he starts cooking dinner on a camping stove. As the sun starts to set, he sees a couple of people walking by the campsite, and this is when he mentions that he's getting a bad vibe and feels like he's possibly in danger from them. Most experienced campers would probably tell you that if your gut is telling you something's wrong, you should probably call it a day and leave, but Sam decided to stick it out for the night and kept on recording. As soon as he settles down in his tent to get some sleep, things start to get very creepy.
There's somebody, hang on. I don't know if they can see it or not through the tent. I don't think so. I'm leaning right up against the light, but somebody's walking around out there very close to the tent.
As the seconds pass by, the footsteps outside seem to get louder and louder. At one point, Sam calls out to whoever's out there, but at first he doesn't get a response. It's only after he calls out for about the 5th time that every camper's worst nightmare starts to become a reality for Sam.
They're walking around outside in circles.
Hello? Hello? All right, I don't like this. Hello? Hello? They're touching my tent. Stop. Hello? Hello? All right, I'm getting out of here. Hello? Hello? I don't know what this is, but we're getting out of here. Hang on. Hello? Okay, they're walking away now. What do you want? What do you want? I have a knife. Where's my knife? With me. With me here. Holy crap. Get away. What do you want?
oh, that'd be creepy. That'd be creepy.
Hello? I can't see you. Hello?
There's nothing saying
All
anything.
right, I'm getting out of here. We're getting out of here.
One thing that a lot of people in the comments of Sam's video have pointed out is that if you're being stalked or attacked by a stranger in the middle of the woods, it's probably not a good idea to show weakness by saying things like, "I can't see you, I'm spooked, and I don't like this." After this, the attackers apparently leave the campsite, but as soon as he steps out of the tent, Sam sees them standing eerily in the woods just a few feet away from him.
They collapsed my tent on me. I don't know which way they went. I think they went this way. I see you. Get away! All right, I'm spooked. I don't like this.
I'm spooked.
Getting out of here right now. They're just standing there. They're just standing there. What do you want? Leave me alone!
Completely freaking out after the disturbing encounter, he obviously decides to call it a night and head back to his van in the park, but things only continue to get worse for Sam.
All right, they're moving again. I don't know. I'm getting out of here. We're going. I'll come back for this some other time. All right, out of here. I'm leaving. Don't follow me. I don't know where to go. I don't know which way to get out of here.
That's another reason not be just. That's another reason to.
I smell your cigarette. I can hear you.
You wanted to put up
I
with
hear
that
you.
if you didn't go out there.
As he's making his way back to the park, he looks back at the campsite and sees the attackers stealing his things, but he decides to leave his stuff behind, terrified for his life. As he's running through the woods now, he turns back and sees his attackers chasing him.
Oh, gotta lead back to the main trail. I don't know.
And you're in the dark.
Where they are. I
You
think
can't see.
It's all foggy up here. I got water in my headlamp. I don't know where to go. I don't see or hear anybody anymore. I hear them coming. Can't see the shadow. Here's a path. Okay, get me there. I'm recording all of this. I'm calling up police. All right, I'm back on the path. Back on the path.
Okay, don't be saying all type of stuff.
Okay.
I
Get
won't be
away
doing
from
that.
me!
If what they did to Sam was some kind of joke, that's a pretty messed up joke to play on someone. But because the uploader confirmed that they didn't end up stealing his stuff when he went back the following morning, it's also clear that looting the campsite wasn't really their main focus. We can't really know what they would have done to him if he hadn't run from the campsite, but at any rate, it's probably a good thing he did.
That's where at least I'm from out there. I would rather be in like like RV or something. At least that you're more safe. The tent, you're not even as safe at all, Eric. You can easily get like killed or something, or has something happen to you in the tent. I'd rather have like a camper, like one of those like trailers. So at least with that, like they can't really do. With that, like someone can't really do much. Especially if you have like your windows shut and then you have your door locked. So someone can't really do as much. With the tent, you're really you're like really prone to like super prone to like getting like attacked or something, or like someone can do something easily. All right, I think I'm gonna be ending the stream now.
Yeah. All right. See you next stream.
All right, see you, Taylor. All right, see you guys. All right, I gotta end the stream.